Adley Rutschman on fire this spring with something to prove that the second half last year was not an anomaly. And Bautista also on fire too. The future of the Orioles catching core looking very, very bright. But knowing how good Bautista is most likely going to be in the majors and how he's hitting these monstrous home runs, do you still extend Adley Rutschman if he has an amazing first half of the season? Hello, everybody. I'm Jon Leiberman. This is Orioles Digest. Adley's spring numbers off the charts. We're going to get into that and why I believe the second half last year was an anomaly and why Adley could be poised to have a monstrous opening day against Toronto. Plus, we're going to look at the projected starting lineups, break it down, get your thoughts, see if you agree with it. But before we go any further, please have a look at this very special announcement. Well, this is exciting. We are kicking off a March Madness bracket for the channel. We have partnered with the Hot Takes app and other digest channels for this event. It is completely free to sign up. Just download the Hot Takes app, find the digest group, and join the competition. So exciting, more than $25,000 in prizes to be won. And since there's a much smaller pool of people participating, there's a real chance in winning big compared to other bracket challenges out there. This is exciting. Check out the link below, scan that QR code that you just saw, and make sure to use the promo code DIGEST in all caps to get exclusive perks when signing in. Completely free to sign up. Serious chance to win big. And if you have any trouble at all, just reach out to us at the email down below. We are so excited to see you and join you in this March Madness pool. And Adley is on a tear this spring. Look at it for yourself. 30 at-bats, 7 runs, 11 hits, 2 long balls, 5 ribbies, a 367 average, 457 on base percentage, and 1.024 OPS. Adley, as we know, has to have a big bounce back season in order to increase his value so that he can be considered for an extension. We also know, as Adley goes, the Orioles go. So we need Adley to be that producer at the top of the lineup that we know he can be, and he has to prove that the second half of last year was an anomaly. Now, the other issue, of course, is this guy, Samuel Bautista, an amazing prospect, hasn't played a day in the real majors yet during the regular season. My question for you is, can Bautista and Adley coexist on the same ball club? I say yes. Bautista can play first, of course. Bautista can be your backup catcher. But my question for you, friends, is, all things being equal, let's say Adley has a very strong season. Let's say Bautista gets called up later in the year and shows he can hit major league pitching. Do you still go for a big extension for Adley Rutschman? That's what I want to hear from you. Now, why do I believe Adley is going to get off to an amazing start this year? I'm going to tell you why. Jose Berrios is the pitcher that we will be seeing on opening day. These are Adley's career numbers against Jose. A .591 batting average, .625 on base percentage, 1.091 slugging, and 1.716 OPS. Adley absolutely tears up Jose Berrios, so he is poised to have a big opening day if everything goes as it should. Speaking of a big opening day, Adley needs a big season. He needs a bounce back, I believe, in order to be considered for a massive extension. Adley's numbers from last year, not shabby by any means, with 19 homers, 79 batted in, but we also know Adley had a very poor second half of the year and postseason. So the Orioles need Adley to have bounce back type numbers in order to be considered for an extension. And again, it's not inconceivable that Bautista and Rutschman are together on the Orioles for many years to come. There have been other scenarios where two stars who play the same position can coexist. Do you see that happening? Let me know. And while we're at it, we can look at the opening day starter for Toronto, Jose Berrios, 32 games, 192 innings pitched. He's an innings eater. He strikes out a decent amount of guys. He has that 3.5 ERA. Berrios is the ace for the Toronto Blue Jays. Now, speaking of aces, we're going to get to Heston in a minute, but speaking of aces, if I could get my buttons right, there we go. A nice tweet today from Jacob Calvin Meyer guessing the Orioles Day lineup. I want you to weigh in too. So you look at the lineup, if Gunnar's in there, Gunnar at the top, followed by Adley, Tyler O'Neill, Cowser, Westy, O'Hearn, Mountcastle, Mullins, and you don't see, but it's Holliday, who would be the ninth. Now, if Gunnar is not healthy, Jacob is projecting a Cowser, Rutschman, O'Neill, O'Hearn, Westberg, Mountie, Mullins, Elias, and Holliday lineup. My question for you is, and some thoughts that I had is, I think there's an argument that you put Heston Kjerstad in the lineup ahead of Ryan O'Hearn. I think you could put Heston in that opening day lineup and it would make sense. The other, thing is, I believe maybe you move Mountcastle way up in that lineup because we know that Mountie absolutely eats up Blue Jays pitching for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So, do you move Mountie up in that lineup as well? These are good problems to have. The Orioles have depth. Their position players have depth. We also have depth in the pitching staff. And as I said earlier, I believe Albert Suarez is your fifth starter to start the year. And Cade Povich takes up that long relief type role where he can come in and eat up 3-4 innings or something of that sort. But again, the takeaway, Adley is on a tear this spring. We expect him to have a huge year. And just think about it. If the Orioles' young core can come back and all have big years, you're talking about Gunnar, you're talking about Adley, you're talking about Westy, you're talking about Cowser, you're talking about Heston, you're talking about Holliday. I mean, what an amazing young core we have. It'll then be up to the pitching to carry the Orioles through. I'm Jon Leiberman. This is Orioles Digest, and we'll see you next time.